So that was that's kind of it. That's what's up. Hey, um, this is I don't know. This is something that I'm kind of starting to do. This single take kind of thing. The audio is going to be single take. I might do like a few cuts here and there just to shorten the negative or dead space. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm super stoked. Things are happening. Changes in life and things that we just never thought would be a thing. They're happening. And to be quite honest with you, it's kind of weird because you do a quick, rundown of where life is and things that you're trying to do, and you find yourself a little bit worried and maybe a little bit upset about how things have kind of turned out. And sometimes that's just life, and it's kind of difficult to be angry. Um, especially if you're a believer like myself, it's kind of hard to look at life and just be dissatisfied when you take stock of the things that you've been able to get through. It just kind of doesn't have as much of a significance in the long run, right? Like we say this, I know that we are really big in saying that, like, you have to think eternally and all that. But sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes it's just really difficult to hone in on that stuff. And um, I think this is my attempt at being more mindful of what I do and what memory I leave behind. And yeah, the internet is forever. Yeah, that's true. Digital footprints are unprecedented, and we curate ourselves to present the best version of what we got, but um, that's not this. And yeah, I was thinking. I was thinking about lost opportunity. I have this memory that still sticks with me for the longest time. It I wouldn't say that it haunts me, but it definitely sits with me, and it makes me think and it makes me reflect. I was in ninth grade, and for those who don't know, I was like any kid, really gravitating towards sports. And one of the things that I realized early on is that children are formed deeply by their parents, regardless of the environment. I think that parents have such a big role in how kids are formed. So, I when I decided to start making my way into sports, there's just a lot of like really unfriendly, like, guys. They're just super unfriendly. Like, and I'm a pretty polarizing personality once you get to know me. Either, and at the time I was still, trying to get to know myself. And one thing I really was taken aback was just how like unfriendly this environment was, and you try to fit in, and sports seemed like the correct place to do that. Um, so fast forward, I joined the football team. I feel like I'm doing good. My goodness, that negativity is always there. Someone's always saying something like, "Oh, you cheated." Like I'm. This is the first time I ever play football. I was a soccer kid, but I'm a Latino. I'm breaking all kinds of Latino rules just by being above, 5'7". I'm like, I hit the lottery. I'm so glad, but I was just one of the few that decided to play football instead of going all in on soccer. And I loved it. It was so fun. But there's always people just kind of saying, hey, like, you cheated, or, oh, you know the playbook, you memorize the playbook. I'm like, no. At the time, I didn't know I had ADHD. I was just had an, intuitive sense of seeing things and patterns. And um, I was playing linebacker. It was crazy, just freaking trying to knock heads. But the more people said that to me, that something inherently about what I was doing was wrong and that I couldn't have gotten it right, really messed with me deeply. And then we're at our first scrimmage game. And it's just bombardment upon bombardment of just other, players on the team. Like you're cool with them, but they like just kind of like put you down when they feel that their thing is at risk. And they put me in for a play. And for those who know, we're in this 4-4 stack formation, and I'm playing outside linebacker. I read the end and I go into my coverage, kind of like we've drilled so many times. And my goodness, the pocket collapses. I'm right in the firing line of the quarterback, and the ball is in the air. In like an instant, I felt like I had a decision to make. And I saw the ball coming towards me. And I could have intercepted it. It was well within reach. But I pretended that it wasn't within reach because I wanted to conform to what people were saying. There's no way that I would have gotten that. I wasn't good at this. How could I be good at this if this was my first time trying it? Then I let it go. I let the opportunity go. I don't know if it would have converted into anything significant. I don't know if it would have been a really cool moment for me. I don't know. But what I do know is that became like the pivotal point for me to just continue in that cycle of the opportunity comes, it's well within your hands, and you pretend that it's out of reach. You kind of contort yourself to say, oh yeah, I couldn't have reached it, or I couldn't have gone to that place because it was just not within reach. And that's just kind of how things have been going. And I would hate for you to go through that, it took me a really long time to shake that off. And still I have to remind myself to shake that off. And, the overcorrection has definitely been something that I've also had to work on. Like it's a balance, you can't just over leverage on one thing just because you feel like you're missing out. But my goodness, it was, it was a lot. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I kind of thought that's like these be like these little journal things. Also wrote something. Just kind of, let's put this here. Kind of in lieu of like all the stuff that's happening, all the things that's changing. One thing I will say is that in spite of all that, in spite of feeling like, man, that really changed me in a way that I had to grow out of. I also think that it's the way that the sovereign will of the Lord kind of played out in my life.